The Digital Vans Triple Crown of Surfing is underway on the North Shore, and it is pumping. Submissions are rolling in. It runs for just 4 weeks, December 21st through January 21st. So we are just in the thick of it. And again, the waves have been pumping just these last couple of days. So crazy submissions have been coming in. Moana Jones Wong on a double barrel at Pipeline that it's guaranteed to net a high score. Baron Mamiya, Kalani David in the last couple of days. So get over and check it. vanstriplecrownofsurfing.com. This digital version takes place at the 3 historic surf venues and will award individual event titles to the men and the women at the Vans Hawaiian Pro at Haleiwa, the Vans World Cup of Surfing at Sunset Beach, and of course, the Vans Pipe Masters at the Bonsai. Vans will also award overall Vans Triple Crown Series champions. So check it all out, vanstriplecrownofsurfing.com. Follow along at Vans Triple Crown Surf on Instagram. And the website layout is improved over last year. It's super easy to navigate and see scores, see what's what. So go check it out. Have fun. Vans is also excited to partner with Stoked in their mission to use board sports culture to close the opportunity gap. Stoked creates a community of fearless leaders through mentoring, opportunity, and action. Through mentorship and action sports culture, Stoked empowers underserved youth to reach their fullest potential, instilling passion, resilience, and determination. Stoked collaborates with schools, community organizations, and a network of dedicated mentors to bridge the opportunity gap for low-income youth and prepare them for a vibrant, fulfilled life after high school. It's an amazing mission. They're running an amazing program, and you can learn more at stoked.org. I'm gonna interrupt everybody right now. Devon, can you hear me?
Can.
Yep. Kevin Miller, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Chaz Smith, can you hear me?
Got you. And I'm gonna go somewhere quieter real quick.
All right, we can't.
Can someone screenshot that? That's a beautiful shot right there.
Okay, so the only way that this is actually going to work is if I play the role of moderator.
Yeah.
And then I'll present the topics. I'll say whose turn it is to speak. If you have something that you want to interject based on what somebody else is saying, maybe just raise your hand. I'll identify you and then be like, all right, Matt, you're up,
Right.
And we don't need this to be exhaustive. So especially with this many people, if we all keep kind of our answers short and sweet, I think we'll still get a 45-minute show out of it probably.
All right.
So is everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
You're on.
Should we use a real hand or the button, the special button?
I didn't know there was a special button.
I'm
going to say use your real hand because I don't know if everybody else knows where the special button is either. So let's just use a real hand.
That's the secret to life. I'll shut up now.
All right, sounds good. So I'm going to introduce everybody, then I'll give kind of a rundown on the way that the format for the show. We have a number of people. This is the party podcast. We've never done this format before. So I'm going to start introducing people from the furthest they are from our Southern California studio geographically. It looks like Chaz Smith might be the first to be introduced. Chaz, where are you? And what time of day and what are you doing?
I am standing in front of the Duomo in Milan, and it is, I think, only a comfortable 6:04 p.m. and just got done with my 18th Negroni.
Amazing. Have you taken up smoking again? That's a yes. That was a thumbs up yes. Exactly. Win in Milan. Second furthest, I think, might be Jamie Breuer in the UK. Jamie, where are you and what time of day is it? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm in London and in England, and it's 5:04 here. And I'm sitting in my bedroom. I just tried to fix my toilet, which seems to be having a leak, but I can't find the leak. And I thought this was a nice break from that.
Perfect. So 5:04 in the afternoon, an hour earlier than Chaz. For the record, it is 9 a.m. in Southern California where I am recording this. I think the next furthest away might be Kevin Miller of the Florida Surf Film Festival. Kevin, where are you? What are you doing? What time of day?
Hey, everybody. It's good to see you guys and wish you guys all a happy new year. I'm actually at the golf course and taking a little break to join you guys for a little party.
So what time of day is it?
It is 12 noon.
How did your round of golf go with Kelly? And what were the scores?
Yeah, you just touched on my highlight of 2021. I actually got to meet
All right,
Kelly.
hold it then. Hold it if you want. Okay. Introductions. Matt Warshaw. I think you're the next. Actually, Tyler Breuer. Tyler Breuer, where are you?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York. It's 12:05, and I'm just chilling in my surf studio here and just waiting to run down the top stories of 2021.
Sweet. And I think now's a good time to say that the Breuer Brothers, Jamie in the UK, Tyler in New York, are introducing a new podcast in 2021 called Hardcore Surf History. So there's lots to look forward there. Matt Warshaw, where are you?
I'm in Seattle, and obviously Charlie's probably where it's coldest. And I don't know how cold it is in London, but out here, I just got done shoveling snow and ice off my sidewalk. So
no way.
That's why I'm giving you some of this.
Yeah, flexing
Flex.
big time.
Look at that cut. Look at that.
It's
cut
really,
going
it's
on.
been really cold up here. The day after Christmas, it snowed about 7 inches or so, and it hasn't been above 30 since then. So everything's just icy and cold, and it's kind of fun until you're sick of it, and then it's
right.
But it's going to snow more today, and then we're done. But it's really white and it's beautiful, and I'm glad to be inside though.
Good. And then finally, last but not least, Mr. Devon Howard. Welcome to the show. Where are you?
Hey, David. I'm in Carpinteria, California. I'm at the Channel Islands factory.
Yeah.
And we're here just closing up the year, getting those last minute orders in that everyone's pissed off about.
It looks like you opened up the shop. It looks dark behind you.
That's the factory. Right behind me is the whole factory. It's sort of like the aquarium vibe here. You can look down there and see what's going on.
So I don't know if everybody's aware of this who's on the call, but nearly 1 year ago to the day, it might have been 366 days ago, the first ever mid-length world champ arrived onto the planet. Do you know who this is?
Chaz Smith.
No. He was just born
Don
1
Wayne
year ago.
Freeman?
Devon, who was it?
Oh, my son, Rex. Oh, that's a bold prediction.
Hey.
Let's not put that on him. Born with a stigma like that? Oof. Yikes.
He inherited from you. It's a blessing, not a curse.
Hey,
Oh,
can I
yeah.
say thank you to Devon? This is the first time I'm meeting you, but you've changed my life this past year.
Oh my
With
gosh.
the midlife?
Yeah, and a
With
lot
the
of other
mid.
middle-aged men like me as well. I've got an orange one. Hey, yes, it's a lot of wax on it already.
Welcome to the Fun Board Club.
It's not a fun board. It's a mid-length egg.
Devon, this will be your legacy, whether you like it or not. So
legacy.
the format for the show is we're going to go do a round robin in the same order that I just laid out. We're going to do everybody's favorite story of 2021. I was going to say favorite surf story, but I realized it doesn't have to be a surf related story. Maybe it's the birth of Rex for you, Devon. I don't know. But favorite story of 2021. And then we'll go around again and do bold predictions for 2022. I'm going to lay out the year that was real quickly before we do go to Chaz. In 2021, brands were launched. The WSL reconvened the World Championship Tour. Devon Howard's longboard tour came back, possibly better than ever. Travel somewhat reopened. 50-year-old surfers reigned supreme, from Pete Mel's Wave at Mavericks to Tom Curran's Free Scrubber, Mike Ho's backdoor bomb early in the season, Garrett McNamara's 100-foot wave, Joel Tudor's world title. And then, of course, there are the dubious cultural influencers, Mark Zuckerberg, Jonah Hill, all the foil boarders, toe foilers, all took place in 2021. Matt Warshaw, what do you got?
Has anybody here seen Don't Look Up, the movie?
Yes.
I'm halfway through it.
Amazing.
How good is Jonah Hill?
Halfway through right now.
What's that? I can't
Halfway
stop thinking.
through.
Can't stop
Watching
thinking about
it
you,
alone.
Charlie, because Jonah Hill's stealing that thing, and I just
Yeah.
But DiCaprio, though, DiCaprio is having a moment in that film. I'm halfway, but really loving DiCaprio.
And who was the woman who plays the blonde newscaster? She's so good. Not
Kate
Tilda
Blanchett.
Swinton.
Oh,
Hey, when's
Who was the
Blanchett.
woman?
Catherine Hepburn.
Matt
No,
Warshaw.
not Catherine. I mean, what am I saying? What's her
Kate
name? Who
Blanchett.
played Catherine Hepburn?
Dave
Kate
said it.
Blanchett.
It's Kate Blanchett.
Who played Catherine Hepburn?
Okay,
once.
but again, Charlie, how do you feel when Jonah is literally owning? I mean, every scene he's in, he owns, and he's so. I mean, he is so good.
He is the face of modern surfing. I feel proud as a surfer.
But does it give you a feeling of like not knowing how to feel about him, or can you keep those contrasting thoughts in your head?
Jonah Hill is a straight butthole who's going to be playing Jerry Garcia very soon. So yeah, my thought is straight. I appreciate the work Jonah does.
Okay.
But my goodness.
And he's playing
He's
playing an enemy in the film. So Matt's question is, how do you feel about a straight butthole playing a straight butthole?
Exactly. I feel great about it.
Okay, sorry, David. Go ahead.
All right, Chaz Smith, give me your best moment of 2021.
Best moment of 2021, I was going Pacific Surf, and it is Mark Zuckerberg, July 4th post on the foil board holding the American flag is peak surfing.
It's a tough one to beat. I posted a meme in my stories. It's still active. I just did it like 8 hours ago of some girl who dressed up as that for Halloween, wearing the exact same outfit, white face paint, sticking her butt out and just posing. And it's incredible.
Mark Zuckerberg on a foil, I feel defines 2021 better than anything possibly could, right? I mean, from the white face on playing white face in Kauai to then buying the rest of Kauai to then going to Tahoe and doing it with an American flag. I don't know how surf reaches a higher plateau than that.
That's a bold, not only a great moment, but a bold prediction for 2022.
I mean, I don't know who's going to beat it. I'm hoping new Beach Crit fan Jack Dorsey does beat it, but yeah, I'll have to hit him up.
Congratulations on that. We didn't discuss it last week, but
how good was that?
I thought Dorsey plugged Ira Opper. Did he plug Beach Crit too?
Both.
He did. He plugged Opper and then posted a beach, just like, I don't know what he just posted blank Beach Crit. And so I don't know. I think he was poking fun at Zuckerberg, a Beach Crit Zuckerberg story, but he just shouted out Beach Crit in Twitter. And then the comments were absolutely glorious. Most of which I think dealt with, I was thinking ultra hard surf candy was saltwater taffy and things like that.
I feel like the Joe Rogan obviously was the first thing. And I feel like maybe Joe Rogan put Beach Crit on Jack Dorsey's radar. And so now it's kind of a snowball effect of you guys are just going to get bombarded.
It's all happening. It's all happening with the people that everyone loves.
For the fans that don't know who Jack Dorsey is, who is it?
Twitter. Jazz player.
He's not only the founder of Twitter, he's also the founder and CEO of Square. But he's the founder and CEO of Twitter. He owns the handle @Jack, which is pretty awesome. And I feel like he is the personification of the tech CEOs that they make fun of in movies like Don't Look Up, where he's got a beard, he's got like a couple of piercings in aggressive places. He leaves 6 months on sabbatical and goes to Africa and then goes and does yoga somewhere for a period of time. I feel like he's an absentee CEO, but it builds to his mystique and his allure. And I think who else would you want promoting Beach Crit other than maybe Elon Musk?
I mean, I'll even take Jack over Elon at this point.
Speaking of Elon Musk, Kevin, what are you sitting in?
Oh, my 2018 automobile. It's a Model 3.
Model 3 what?
Tesla. Yeah.
It's
the best car I've ever owned. I have to shamelessly plug Tesla.
Best car. I drove that car and it's the best car I've ever driven.
It's a sexy interior, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Stormtrooper white. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Jamie Breuer in the UK, give us your favorite moment of 2020.
Well, it might come off of them like 2021. Yeah, like I'm virtue signaling here, but I'd say it's kind of this year surfing seemed to really, it was the coming out party, if you to use the turn of phrase, of surfing rediscovering its countercultural progressive soul. You know, like to use the pun, it woke up. You know, kind of the launch of Emotion, the publication of Africa Surf, Carissa Moore on the cover of Outside, I think, Justine Dupont's Big Wave. Like if you look back, what attracted me to surfing in the first place, apart from just the idyllic ocean and everything, was that you did feel a bit like you were kind of cool, almost like I think, Matt, I think you described like we all felt like misdemeanor level criminals, like back in the 50s, you had all the guys who went out to the west side of Oahu and the North Shore and kind of lived almost like beatniks. And then the late 60s and 70s, the back to nature, like Nat Young and the drug smuggling and the globe traveling like Norton Peterson. But then, kind of lost it and became more and more kind of, really kind of, conservative in its culture for a long time. And even got, even at like the turn of the century, like it was quite conservative in its nature.
Corporate.
And this year it seemed to like all of a sudden surfing's, even though it's also become extremely mainstream recently, it seems to be like something you can almost be proud of. So
you motherfucker took my fucking story, bastard.
I wonder.
Brother. God damn it.
I totally didn't read your email. I was serious, Tom.
Fucking hell. Get out of my head.
Never
Let me ask you guys this. How much of those positions that people took that you're talking about this year were in their own financial interest or in a corporate interest of their sponsors versus being sincere?
Well, the people that I was talking about, like the people who made Emotion magazine, I don't think there was any financial interest in that. And it was also putting a spotlight on people who were marginalized, like the LGBTQ community or, oh God, Tyler, help me with this. The women, they did the excellent profile on the women surfer
Kim
who
McKenzie?
kill sharks. Yeah.
Kim McKenzie, Shark Girl Kim. Oh,
totally. Yeah, I mean, those
legend.
people, I don't think were gaining anything financial. I don't think Mariah Ernst and oh God, the other publisher, Tyler, who made the magazine?
Themby.
Yes,
Hannafin.
I don't think they were making any money at this. And then same thing with Africa Surf. I think that was a crowdfunded kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, maybe other people are joining in the way that like greenwashing happens. But I think there has been a voice given to, more progressive voices.
Well, let's be honest. Sal Masakela getting credit for starting the first African surf brand was a bit of a stretch.
Well, I don't think he's claiming it's the first African surf brand.
He was, and that's
he
the way it gets rolled out in New York Times and stuff. Is the first African surf brand by Sal Masakela and two white dudes.
Gotcha, right? Gotcha's the first.
I mean,
Price and Michael Thompson.
Or maybe Instinct. Instinct might be.
Precisely, but Sal letting that roll through as the first African surf brand to me was a real shame for 2021.
Ooh,
Tyler,
pulling it out. I don't know.
Brewer, did your brother steal yours, or do you have more to add to that?
Oh, I have a list. I have a list to add.
Bring it. Favorite moment of 2021. Pick one or two of the top.
Okay, I think surfing in the Olympics has to be mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Great
it's
call.
super important. Carissa Moore, particularly winning the gold, seeing her on all the ads and just the representation that she brings to it all. I mean, it's going to have huge not repercussions, but reverberations throughout surfing for years to come. And now it's going to be in LA Olympics. So I think that was like the biggest story. Whether you enjoyed it or not, I mean, that's debatable, but it did get a lot of attention. And I think that one is definitely up there. The other one, I would say there's a couple things, but Ultimate Surfer bombing was really fun to watch. And, the rise of surf fitness apps and online surf coaching the past year, I think has been really fascinating to watch. Like,
is it on, Charlie?
What's that?
Hold it up, Charlie.
Hold what? Whoop. Oh,
yeah.
So whoop it up.
Sorry.
But the whoop is amazing. But you then have like, Gerlach with Wave Key, which is really gained a lot of popularity. But then you have like Ombe Surf and all these other weird kind of things where you're like, do these people even actually know how to surf? Like these guys on the skateboard kind of doing these weird surf training. It's like it's become like a free-for-all, and it's fascinating to watch.
I agree. It's something we don't actually talk enough about on the podcast because that has been kind of a big thing this year. I wonder how much of it actually sticks around.
Yeah, I'm curious for next year to see how
Matt
many of
Warshaw's
them
given a
are
thumbs down.
viable. No,
I mean,
Yeah, Kevin Miller's given a thumbs down. I think like with
No,
wave
wave
pools,
key.
one or
Wave key
two,
for
yeah, one or
sure.
two of them will rise to the top. I think Brad is, the obvious pick. Maybe Taylor Knox, one or two, and then all the others will kind of go by the wayside.
Let's talk about one of the biggest misses with it is Rip Curl. I mean, they got to watch. They have a team of athletic surfers. How have they not put together a whole athletic training program / performance training watch,
Totally.
program? Like that
Well,
is to me like a huge miss.
Mick is super
Beach Grit-
athletic. Connor
Beach
Coffin,
Grit is
I
going to
feel
do
like.
on this. Beach Grit is going to do on this year, which will be just a Negroni counter. The more Negronis, the better you surf.
The original concept for this show came from a listener for this group show, and he said we all have to do it with a cocktail on New Year's Eve and talk about what our cocktail recipe was. But I didn't know if that would work out considering it's 9 a.m. here. Kevin Miller, you are up next. What's your favorite moment of 2021?
Well, it's a very personal story. I've been surfing in Florida since 1986, 85. And I have maybe seen Kelly Slater in my lifetime 4 or 5 times peripherally, on the beach about to paddle out at a heat during high school, at a surf expo walking by, and of course, never met him. I don't know how many years into my surfing life, and I've always wanted to meet Kelly. So I decided in 2013, in order to meet Kelly, maybe I should start a surf film festival, and maybe one day you would show up. I mean, there, among other reasons.
That was the reason you did the festival, only to meet Slater. Amazing.
I mean, look in the dictionary under sycophant for surfing and you see Kevin Miller's face. So I didn't start the festival for that reason, but I definitely thought maybe one day I could get Kelly to show up. And it happened this year. So that was definitely a moment for John and I. We were planning on having not a low-key festival, but a festival that sort of had, a revival from COVID and maybe not the best numbers we've ever had. Well, it turned out the opposite was true. We actually had the best festival we've ever had. And, we did an event in June, 2 nights, sold out both nights, had a quieter night in August because of the Delta variant. And then here comes November, which is when we usually do our full event, and flew Matt out and tried to get you and David out, but with the baby and everything, it was hard to get you out, but and Chaz couldn't make it. But
you would not have wanted me there with Kelly. Let's be honest. It would have wrecked your Kelly experience.
Well, and I feel like even on your worst day, I mean, in person, you're kind of a teddy bear. I think you would have, I mean, I've seen the opposite hold true at Surf Expo, and yes, definitely I would have been worried about it, but with you in attendance, it would have been a little weird. But I honestly don't know how much he cares or gives any attention to the backlash or the stuff you guys give him on Beach Grit. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I wouldn't worry about it if you guys were together, though. But in the long story short is a good friend of mine, Bruce Reynolds from Cocoa Beach, had been golfing with me over the last 4 years. And I said, hey, if Kelly's ever in town, let's go play golf. And he was kind enough to let me know that he was in town and that, in fact, it would be great if they could come over and play. And we did. And it happened to be the Wednesday before the festival. And of course, Matt Warshaw and Jack Coleman and Wyatt Daly, Justin, from the reboot on Morning of the Earth, all those guys showed up the same night. And so when we finished our round, I was like, hey guys, we're having dinner over here by the airport. You want to join us? And so in one fell swoop, I got to play golf with my hero, and have dinner with him, get him to the festival on Friday. And you know how they say, don't meet your heroes. Well, I'm here to say that it held up for me. I was very happy to meet him. And it was just, a great, into, I don't know, 8 years of doing this festival. Every time Beach Grit has Kelly Slater in the title of an article, I get pissed off. I get angry and pissed off. I'm so defensive about Kelly. I'm definitely 100% in the Kelly camp. Nobody touches Kelly and nobody fucks with Kelly on my watch. So there you go.
I don't touch
What were the
anyone.
golf scores?
Oh yeah. So this is kind of cool. So he never played here at this course. It's called Interlochen Country Club. It's a tough course. Shot 75 on 18 and we were about to wrap it up. And I said, let's go play another 9. And I shot 81. He shot 75. And we played another 9 holes. And on number 9, he's putting from the fringe, misses the putt by a half an inch and says, damn it, that would have been a 28. So he was well on his way to a course record on that second 9. And just impressive. He's clearly been practicing a lot. And, you know, I think he's going into my prediction for 2022, not to jump the gun, but I got to run and meet up with somebody. So I'll put my prediction in there. He's going to retire in 2022. I don't have any information on that. It's not hard to make that prediction, but I think he might surf in 1 or 2 events and call it a day.
Awesome. Well, hey, go get to your tee time. I know you're a little bit late for it, but Kevin Miller from the Florida Surf Film Festival, thank you for joining us.
Before he
Thanks
goes,
for having me, guys. Have a great Happy New Year. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
can I say
thanks.
one thing? Just to say, I had my Kelly Slater hero moment years ago, and I agree. I think he is pretty awesome. When I was about 13 years old, I went to the Pasquid surf camp, and he came and surfed with us one day. We went out to Trestles to Lowers, and on the walk back, you know, it used to be like a really long back before you had electric scooters, and I ended up walking by myself. So it was a bit of like I felt like a bit of the loser of the group, and all of a sudden I hear, "Hey man, how's it going?" And it was Slater, and he was about 16 at the time, and oh no, he was just turned pro at the Life's a Beach Classic, and he walked back the whole way with me talking story, and I thought that was amazing. I've always wanted to say thank you to that, and I almost had my chance years later. This is the last bit and I'll let you go. When I was working at a veggie cafe in the North Shore behind the Celestial Foods health food store, and I was in there taking my break in the afternoon, and all of a sudden he walked in, and so I made him lunch, and he was there with Shane Dorian, and then afterwards he left and he didn't finish his veggie burger.
Oh, great. And you ate it?
Yes.
He wanted to get his super saliva. He thought maybe it would transfer over into his surfing.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That is a
There
big
you go.
reveal.
That's creepy.
Either the only thing creepier is if you saved the
burger's
burger
like
and you had
behind
it
you
in that
somewhere.
plexiglass behind you.
My
got his,
interaction with him was not that cool, to be
right,
honest.
Kevin Miller.
Go, Kevin.
Take care.
Thanks so
Nice to
much.
meet you.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Cheers,
Bye.
Kev.
All right.
Yes.
Matt Warshaw, you're up. Favorite moment of 2021.
I misheard I misunderstood the assignment, and
That's all right.
I wrote about Hap Jacobs dying in last week's Sunday Joint, and I realized
That's one of the best moments.
Well, no, as I was writing that, I realized that all those legendary board makers from South Bay that I grew up with, they all just seem to have, I think 4 or 5 of them died. It was Jacobs and Greg Knoll and Mike Eaton and Phil Becker. So I guess if I'm going to flip this around, like, I guess what I'm grateful for from last year is that Bing Copeland's still alive. So, you know, he's hanging in there, but it was a bad year to be a board maker. And then I guess if I'm going to pull a silver lining, like thing that I loved about last year, it's the same as the year before and probably the year before that, which was anytime Mason Ho puts a clip out, I'm pretty cheered up and happy about that. And
Here.
yeah,
I
so
like it. Devin, what do you got? Favorite moment?
Oh, there's so many. I had a list, but I thought, what about the P. Diddy coming out as a surfer? That could have been fun, but that died.
That was pretty good.
Completely forgot about that.
And he could have been a connection with Beach Grit. And then, and then there's a lot of personal stuff, but that's kind of boring. But the quick ones.
Spraying bro in the face must have been way up there.
Yes.
That was up there.
Lunakai.
Spraying him in the face was excellent. And it was a happy accident. And then those of us who work here at Channel Islands, we pooled our money together and bought it back from Burton. I know that's very corporate sounding, but
Huge
just
story.
like putting everything on the line And, the bold prediction is like, do you invest in a surfboard company? I mean, there's so many reasons not to. And we all kind of talked to our families like, geez, this is probably a bad idea, but it seemed like the right thing to do. And so far it's worked out. It's been awesome. But the moment I'm going to go with is Peter Mell's wave at Mavericks. I mean, all of us appear to be a bit older here on the panel, except David, you're a young buck still, I think. Yeah, I mean, 50 years old or 51 years old, a life dedicated to that break, taking a line that no one had ever seen before. For me, that was the moment. It was insane. So that's mine.
Who shaped that board, Devon?
Oh,
Yeah, Dev.
some guy named Britt Merrick. Not me. No, but the board itself, Peter he'll go on and on. If anyone's into big wave design, the trend of the last few years, maybe more, has been more foam up forward and lower rocker, like Paizel, the Cadillac. A lot of those boards are that way. Christensen boards, I think, maybe. And Peter's kind of gone a different direction, and his boards have crazy rockers. So if you go back and look at that wave, he's gone away from that. He's got a lot of foam, he's got a lot of volume, obviously, but his whole theory is if you're surfing a wave like Mavericks, you put yourself deep in the pit, you need all that curve to fit through, and watch him weave that moment. I've watched it like 100 times. It's insane.
It's the bottom third of the drop that the rocker saved him.
Yeah.
The bottom third of that drop is no way would have made that on a board that didn't have some rocker in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Like Sean Thompson's banana board pipe.
Yeah. And I think Peter's capped off his year. If any of you have Stab Premium, which doesn't seem very many people do, I'm one of the people who pays for it.
I do.
They make you pay for it.
Like, I think the best thing Stab's done is the documentary on Peter. I thought it was awesome. So if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to check it out.
I liked it a lot too. I think it's the best of a series that Kyle Boothman kid has done. So he's been profiling a number of Santa Cruz icons for probably almost 10 years now. He was calling that series brain work or something previously. And then I think Stab saw the success of what he had done previously. So they hired him to do the Pete Mel one. And I agree with you. It's kind of the best one yet. But yeah, I second everything that you said. That's a fantastic moment in surf. It's a feel good moment for his age, for the amount of time he's put out there. I also loved at the end of that documentary that his son on that same day got shacked on the left.
Yeah.
After Pete's wave, Pete's on the jet ski over in the channel on the left, and his son, who's Goofy Foot, gets a wave that Pete films on his cell phone. And he's just like, are you kidding me? Like, that would be a highlight moment of any other year. It happens to be on the same day that Pete got the wave of his life. So
Poor son.
I mean,
he's got to
imagine
live in the
Pete-
shadow like that.
Pete is a
Oh,
dad, crushing his son's one moment.
Yeah, serious.
Like me dancing Mother
Serious.
Jesus at the ballet.
Like, Dad, why can't you let me have that? God, come on.
You guys already
Don't-
talk about Charlie's parental moment with the ballet. Did I miss that one? With the
No.
He and I touched on it a little last week, but we did not do a deep dive, which we're welcome to now. What do you got?
just because the photograph of Charlie with the makeup and the mustache and the kids all was, I should have made that one of my highlights of actually. I love that. It was so good.
That was a good fatherhood moment for sure. Good dad.
Oh my goodness, but I'm just stomping on Child's Dream. Just kidding. We're partially in Milan for Childhood Dream, trying to go see the ballet here, but COVID canceled.
I saw that. What a bummer,
That's
man.
bummer.
Such a bummer.
Yeah, but you're still in Milan, so.
You guys are gonna get
Boo-hoo.
stuck.
Oh. Win some, lose some.
So my must-see, or not must-see, but my kind of favorite moment from 2021 was really unexpected, and it's Project Abelli. Chaz and I, a listener actually came up with the concept. We were talking about how much we loved Caio Abelli's Underdog Story, where he's unsponsored. The year I think that he was on tour as a wild card, every time he was in an event, he would take out one of the world title contenders, Kelly Slater, John Florence, Gabriel Medina, he had some tussles with. And so we just thought, wow, this guy, he is what we're all rooting for, and yet he has no corporate or industry support. So a listener reached out and they said, hey, you guys should just crowdfund Kaio. Like this, in this era, we don't need the corporation anymore. We can independently finance. So we read that email on air, and almost instantly people offered. I got a message from a friend who goes, I'll send you $1,000 right now to kickstart the thing. So we put together a GoFundMe, and we came up with, I think Chaz reached out to Kaio and he said, I'll do it for $15,000 or something to put a sticker on the nose of my board, but I'm working on other contract negotiations and I don't want this to conflict with it. So we didn't write anything out. It was all kind of done very informally, but we set the goal of coming up with $1,500 or $15,000. We did not hit that goal, but we did come up with $7,500, and Kaio agreed to put a sticker on his board for one event for that price. And so I think that the story is great because A, it's an underdog story. More importantly than that, it brought together our community in a way that I knew always existed, but we hadn't really seen manifest in any way other than just through listenership and emails and stuff like that. And then additionally, I think it showed the real potential for platforms like this to exist. Like looking forward to 2021, we could build a trading platform. You know, like trading cards used to be in the past, but this operates like a stock market and everybody has values, and you buy surfers at the beginning of the year, you trade them throughout the year, you earn some money off of it. NFTs are a real thing that we could really look at. We talked about some of this stuff on air. I think that was proof of concept that this stuff has real value and that independent financing is what the audience wants. Tyler, you got
Well, look at Jacko Baker. You influenced him. He got the whole community to raise funds for him to qualify for the World Tour. He did the Challenger Series with money based from his community. You know, and I think that's starting to happen all over the place, actually. And I think you guys helped start that trend.
Well, I think we claimed that we started it, but realistically, I think Ricardo Christie did it 8 years ago through GoFundMe out of New Zealand to get back on tour. I think other surfers have done it back through the 80s and 90s before GoFundMe. My follow-up question, though, is for Chaz. Chaz, do you feel like we got a little bit robbed by Kaio, not by him not requalifying and all that and losing at Rottnest in that event, but more by him not really showcasing enough gratitude for our audience who donated that money?
I mean, I think Kaio, I think it was the too early almost, where I think Kaio still considers himself a sponsorable surfer, right? And then went and went and got a Rusty contract, did he not?
Yeah.
And so I think Kaio was thinking, I'll be grateful for playing you guys game, but I'm still like a, top tier surfer. I think that's what he was in his mind. And so I don't think that the person who paid got robbed. I think we need to pick a better surfer moving forward. Not that Kaio was, I think Kaio's still old model, right? Where we need to go somebody who really hustles for that thing.
I thought he was a guy.
Yeah, he's not. Kaio, we positioned Kaio as the surfer for the people. That was never Kaio. We just made him that. Like Kaio is a old school sponsorship, has a burger chain, et cetera, and total tip of the hat to Kaio for playing along. But Kaio was only playing along.
Yeah. I think Matt Warshaw said it best when we had him on at one point. He said, I was like, hey, is Kaio gonna, win a world title or make the top 10? And Matt's like, no. And I go, yeah, but look at what he's done. Matt goes, yeah, but he's only done that a couple of times. He hasn't done it consistently. The reason why he doesn't have the support that you guys are talking about is kind of evident. Yeah, it's kind of evident, but he's talented and he has these moments of greatness, but it's evident, So
I think you need to start with someone on Challenger Series. That way, if they do qualify, they're going to carry you on to the WSL. They'll be much more appreciative. And then you can also get them at maybe a lower price.
Yeah.
But we got to pick the right surfer. Like Kaio was a brilliant proof of concept. I think that it works. Kaio was also a straight up old model of how sponsorship works.
You gotta pick a young female woman on the female side, I think.
Totally. Someone who'll play with you on that.
Yeah, I just think there's more flexibility. That's more likely to want to sort of try something different than the old model, because the old model hasn't worked for them. So
yeah. And I feel like the women's youth is going to completely blow up in a huge way, that we don't see the potential for upside on the men's. It'll be incremental growth on the men's side. The women's side will be like exponential. Well, I'm still a fan of the Kiowa Belly story. It is my story of 2021, or Project Belly, I should say. But it's more because of the audience rallying together and proving that we are ready to transition out of the old corporate sponsor model. Let's move on to predictions. I think we covered everybody there, right? So predictions, Chaz Smith for 2022.
Jonah Hill is going to get barreled at Surf Ranch. Is my prediction for 2022.
That's easy prediction.
Wait,
too easy.
No, I don't think
But
can
it will
make the
come
barrel.
true.
I don't think he can make the barrel at Surf Ranch.
That's
Give him
what
a
I'm saying.
week there. I don't think he'll make it.
It's a bold
Didn't
prediction.
Elo make
Like,
the barrel?
Yeah, but
Did he
Jonah
make it?
only rides fat soft tops. I think Elo didn't make it. Jonah only rides fat soft tops. He doesn't own, theoretically, Surf Ranch like Elo. So he'll have a couple days there. But that's my prediction, is we will see a semi cover up from Jonah Hill at Surf Ranch on an 88 soft top.
Wow. Okay.
I think it'll be on a Joe Falcone board, actually.
I mean, that's probably more likely. Yes,
Yeah.
but that's a
But
prediction.
even-
Really hunched
even-
over.
While high on Quaaludes.
Yeah.
Even his Joe, was that a callback to the Scorsese movie?
Yeah. How can you
so-
not love him after that, Chess?
I love him.
What?
I love him. He just has no sense of humor.
Even the Joe Falcone board, I feel like is too long for him to actually get barreled there. Elo was riding a short board. So until I see Jonah on a short board, I'm claiming that he's not making it.
I'm saying that he'll do a step off from the sled, Raymana driving him in on one of the Kelly boards, and Raymana like, go now, go now, go now, go now. Like all day, every day for a couple days.
He'll
get it.
He'll get in the curl.
Yeah,
What's that?
he'll get in the curl.
he'll get in the curl, but he won't come out.
Pocket.
He won't
Pocket
be
round.
he won't be in the barrel. He'll be just ahead of it. If you were to shoot from the water angle, it'll look like he's tubed, but from the front angle, he won't be covered up.
That's my prediction. Jonah Hill will
Well-
get in the curl at Surf Ranch.
We'll revisit next year at this time. Jamie Brewer, what do you got? Predictions for 2021?
My
2022.
prediction for
Jeez.
2022. But my prediction is that the Bud Tour will make a comeback,
Wow.
but it'll be sponsored by a cannabis company. And the reason for
name.
that, yes, exactly, that's the whole point. Because like I think it is getting hard to travel right now, with the pandemic, and also people's awareness of carbon footprint from flying and all this, but also just America did so good with producing pro surfers when we had the PSAA tour back in the 80s and 90s. And having now, okay, Tyler, you said the Challenger Series. Am I showing my ignorance here? Tell me what the Challenger Series is.
Challenger Series is a string of contests that you can use to qualify for the World Tour, but you have to surf regional events to qualify for the Challenger Series. So it's a 3-tiered tour as opposed to a 2-tiered tour, or as we used to call it when we were younger, 2-tired tours. But
Bit like a wedding cake.
Yeah.
with 3
Yeah,
tiers.
yeah. So you'll actually see formations of the regional tour events actually to qualify for Challenger Series. So I think actually for sure that makes sense.
Yeah.
Who's the cannabis company?
Well, over here in England, I'm a bit cut off from all that. We still have to, hit the streets.
Weed Maps, are they still around?
I have no idea. Yeah, the big names seem to come and go pretty frequently.
That's Joel.
That's
Yeah,
Joel.
exactly. Well, Tyler, what do you got? Predictions.
I got a
2022.
little list here.
Keep it.
first one.
Keep it to the
It'll-
top 2.
Okay, wow, that's a good one though. Jonah Hill and the other surfing celebs are going to form a surf gang that'll take over Malibu. They'll dole out swift justice for any aggression against Vals, resulting in a BJJ throwdown between him and Joel Tudor, where Joel loses and the Vals begin their takeover of localized lineups all around the world in a revolt against the surfing hierarchy.
I think you just wrote his script for him.
Yeah.
Just like with mid 90s, him taking over skate.
Yes.
This is what he's doing in surfing. You just wrote a
totally.
script.
WSL will cash in on the mid-length and create a mid-length world tour.
No.
And Beach Grit will write a story about great white sharks and Jonah Hill in the same article, creating the ultimate clickbait story in all of surf history.
Wow.
I'm waiting for that tomorrow. I am honestly waiting for that story.
This is like a part of Austin Powers' plot. Chaz is going to be acquiring sharks with drones on their head and sending them out just to get the story.
One more.
Beams.
One more. David Lee Scales will find an investor and make surf podcasting a viable business and will take over the surf media landscape.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I feel like we could get that queued up pretty easily.
I got some people
Jack
here
Dorsey.
in New York. Jack Dorsey, exactly.
There you go. Matt Warshaw and then Devon Howard. What do you got, Matt, for predictions?
There will be rumors, but I don't know if it will happen, but there'll be rumors that someone's going to buy Surfer magazine. Some kind of, that's my guess.
I'm ready for it. Let's get that done.
Matt feels like he has some inside information here, that it may be Matt Warshaw who buys Surfer.
I thought about that. Like 3 years ago, I reached out to some people to find out. I probably read on your site, Charlie, that there was a price tag at some point on it. Didn't you guys have some inside that like Surfer will sell for?
Yeah, I think it was like $30 million or something insane.
It was for all of them.
Oh, Cersei Wallace is joining this all-star podcast.
Yes. Cersei, what's your predictions?
Cersei buy Surfer?
Who was gonna?
Well, no, they sold. Had all of them on the block.
For how
Trans
much?
World and everyone. I think it was like 5 million for everything.
That's
Wow.
Less
nothing.
than 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. You can either listen to my wife, who's in the business, or listen to me, who just spits nonsense nonstop.
There'll be rumors of Surfer getting bought, and then end of democracy, and then we can just move on from there. So.
All right, Devon Howard, what do you got? Predictions for next year?
So we're going with fantasy predictions or realistic ones?
You pick whatever you want.
All right. So fantasy, COVID hysteria evaporates. We start to become reasonable again. That would be my fantasy one. My realistic one is, maybe realistic. Pro surfers stop posting clips of themselves. Instead, just images of their family or homies.
Wow. I like that.
Skaters and like MMA people and all these other sorts of folks out there that have Instagram followings. If you go there, like the best skaters in the world have almost no skating of themselves, and they just let the media do it. Surfers, some post like something every day, and it's like, wow, another barrel, and so we have this crazy surf saturation.
Yeah.
And maybe Matt could speak to that, but I'm guessing that surfers maybe felt that they kind of had to do this because the media thing went away. Like, used to have magazines that would do that for you if you were a pro surfer, right? And maybe there's been this like overcorrection of just too much posting. So that is my prediction. One other quick one. I just watched, sorry to keep plugging Stab Premium, I'm not on their payroll, but they put out an email from Dane Reynolds, and within that email, it was a sneak peek of an edit that Dane made of Michael February. Oh my gosh, it is freaking insane. If you can get your hands on that edit, I think it's the edit of the year. It's not Mikey February just kind of strobing and cruising and doing his groove thing. He's absolutely shredding on all kinds of stuff. And when I was done watching that, I was like, maybe the bold prediction is that if Stab would release this and let people watch it, because I think it'd be a shame if they don't, Michael February becomes the world's most favorite surfer. Eclipses everybody.
Mikey February is positioned right there. I totally, completely, like, I stared at stinking Mike February stuff before I went to Surf Ranch, just to try to figure out how to surf. He surfs so beautifully. Like,
you gotta see the high performance.
People know.
You got to see really hone in on the high performance stuff, because like I got to say, I kind of forgot. Like, the guy fought his way to get on the tour. You know, he was on the tour only for a year, but to get there, anybody knows it's an accomplishment to get on the championship tour in the previous version, right? It was very difficult. So to see him ripping it, I was like, wow, the world needs to see more of Mike February in a performance thruster. So
I've
that's
never
my
seen equal to Michael February's grace and style. I've never seen somebody so effortlessly shoehorn Channel Islands into a conversation, into every conversation, as Devon Howard does every time that he's on this show.
He rides
It's
all these
effective.
wonderful boards. I wonder where he
It's-
gets them.
He even positioned it
It's
as
beautiful.
like as a stab. Like, I'm no stab spokesperson when he's actually a spokesperson for somebody else. It was very effective though, Devon. I believed every
Devon-
minute of it.
But also, seriously, Devon Howard, my prediction for 2028, Devon Howard running for California governor.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
you heard it
That's
here
a-
first. It was
That's
on
a
the grid.
sure way to, that's a quick way to get assassinated. No one wants that job,
Morbid.
but thank you, Chaz.
Well, so since you transitioned us towards morbidity, my prediction is actually going to be pretty dark. But
Oh, no.
I know I just couldn't get away from it because I of course thought about Kelly Slater retiring. I think on a light note, there could be kind of a deluge of pregnancies. John Florence might, have a kid, get pregnant at
morbid?
least with Lauren. No, that's not, this part isn't. Maybe Carissa Moore gets pregnant, but my prediction is actually, I think we're going to have some carnage in the surf world, maybe a death or two. There's so much crazy stuff going on in the big wave scene. We're seeing the PWCs get out of control. People are getting injured by the the jet skis, especially at Nazare where there's no channel. Beyond that, the lineups are just way more crowded than they've ever been. Foil boards are incredibly dangerous. Tow foiling is insane. I didn't even know that was a thing until recently. And they're all doing this in a shared lineup with longboarders, with guys on gliders, with bodyboarders, with kids on soft tops, short boarders. And I think it's going to come to an ugly head. And I think I said a while back, maybe to Chaz, like when I was growing up, there was a death every year or two in big waves. And it was because there wasn't water safety. So I think water safety has quelled some of that for recent years. But now we've kind of gone beyond that to where the water safety teams are kind of running into one another and running amok, certainly at places like Nazare. And so I just feel like we've dodged it somehow in the last year or two, but everything's coming to an ugly head. And with the Zuck influence, with Jonah Hill influence, I see everything converging.
It feels it. Go for it.
Whiz.
Damn.
David, just as a quick disclaimer to David Lee's dark black vision, he texted me at 3:30 a.m. his time, up with the kids. So maybe David
He hasn't
Lee
had enough sleep.
Yeah,
This whole show came together at 3 a.m.
Yeah. But
And to
I
add
think
to that, I'm most worried about that board falling on your head, Tyler.
Oh, thanks. I feel like what's happened also is you have a lot of people who are going into big waves who aren't good surfers,
Exactly.
who can barely surf small waves, and they're going into big waves, and there's just the skill level is not there. And like you look at Pete Mel's wave, right? Like what he did. I mean, that guy was on the QS. He was he's a phenomenal surfer in his own right already. To be able to pull off a wave like that, you have to have skills. And the stuff you're starting to see is just people like, you're like, really? That person could barely surf a small wave. Like, no offense to like Sebastian Studner, who's a great tow surfer, but the guy is not that good of a small wave surfer, and you're kind of amazed at what they can do. So I feel like there's definitely a lot of that. I also think head injuries is going to be a much bigger story. It's already started this past year, and I think this coming year, that's going to be a really big topic that people will be discussing.
And pools factor into that conversation too.
Totally.
And to what I was saying is that you hit your head on the
Absolutely.
bottom of a pool, and that's not a good thing. So sorry to end on that note, but why don't we go to New Year's? Why don't we go to New Year's
wait for next year.
resolutions? Yeah,
What's that?
let's move on to New Year's resolutions.
Oh, boy.
Chaz Smith, I know you're kind of anti New Year's resolution, but what do you got?
I'm so anti New Year's resolution. My anti-resolution. The wife is just sitting here shaking her head at me right now.
Just talked about it.
What is it? Oh, make money. Be successful this year.
The pressure's on.
Yeah.
We can use Tyler's prediction of us finding a financier for the podcast, and then we'll
Yep.
start making salaries.
That's it.
Jack
Be
Dorsey.
Let's get a sugar
successful
daddy.
is my resolution for the year.
Sweet, let's do it. Jamie, I think you're up next. New Year's resolution.
I'm going to combine Chaz's resolution with Matt's advice and buy a Jim Beam and save money this year.
That was off air at the beginning. You're drinking Bullet, and so you're going to downgrade to Jim Beam and save a few shekels.
It's almost half as much.
There you go.
That's going to help.
Matt
They'll pay
Warshaw
for-
is our
they'll pay
financial
for-
advisor.
They'll pay for my wave pool visits to Bristol.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tyler, do you got a New Year's resolution?
Yeah. Kind of ride bigger boards, but not a fucking mid-length.
So what, a 7-0?
Because I think, well, this was going to be one of my predictions. I think longer, skinnier 90 style surfboards are going to make a return. And so I want to be ahead of the curve and start riding like 6.8s and 6.6 kind of short boards.
They
What are
It's
your
happening
dimensions as a human being? How tall are you?
I'm 6'3",
Okay.
around 240 at the moment. Working.
Okay.
That's my other one, is become more surf fit.
So 6'8" is still a short board for you.
Yeah.
Matt Warshaw's got his hand up.
A few years ago, I went surfing in Peru with Felipe Pomar, who you guys probably know wants to surf till he's
Yes.
100. And he is the fittest senior citizen you've ever seen. And he unpacked his board, and I said, "What are you riding, Felipe?" And he said, "Well, I'm never going to ride a long board. I'm never going to ride a mid-length, but I just keep making my boards thicker." So he has the same dimensions, and his board was literally 5 inches thick. This was 12 years ago, maybe.
Crazy.
So I don't know, maybe, as you get older, like you can keep that. So if he holds his board to the camera like this, like straight, it just looks like a beautiful, like, I don't know, it's probably an 8-foot long spear of like a gun. Cause he's all about big surf. But if you flip it sideways, it barely gets any narrower,
That's so funny.
That happens to me, Matt, when you move me sideways.
That's incredible. Devon, what do you, or actually Matt, you should give us your prediction or your New Year's resolution.
I've never made a New Year's resolution in my life, and I'm going to keep my record. But I did promise Dave Mailman. How do you say it? Mailman?
Mailman.
Huh?
Mailman.
I did promise Dave that I would get rid of my Nespresso machine, because he said, you know what Nestle is all about, and da-da-da. So, and I was kind of eye rolling the wokeness there, but I did read about Nestle. It's pretty terrible. So I'm going to get rid of my, let's see if you can see it
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
right there. And I love that machine. I love it so much. But I made a vow to Dave that I would get rid of that and get a thing called a Lavazo. Does anyone
Yep.
know what huh?
Of course.
Yep.
So I'm going to get a
I'll send you-
Lavazo in 2022. I don't know when, but that's not a resolution. I'm going to keep a promise to a friend. That's what I'm going to do.
Do it
I
now
like
on
I'm gonna
air.
send you, Matt,
Chuck it.
I'm going to send you a link.
What's that?
I'm going to send you a link to the best espresso machine ever.
I don't want an espresso machine. It's got to be a pod, because what I won't do, I'm not going to be cranking, doing all that bullshit. I want it to be a pod. I have to throw it away. I don't want to have mess. I'm not going to.
Looter. God, so bad for the environment. At least get a reusable pod. Come on.
They have EnviroPods.
Yeah. Get a biopod.
See, I can't
Tide Pod.
discuss it without looking like an asshole. So I probably shouldn't have brought it up, because I was hoping you guys would think enough of me getting off the Nestle thing, but now I've got to also.
Matt, real quickly, how did the fundraiser go for Encyclopedia of Surfing?
Right. So it was a decent fundraiser right up until last week. And then Dick Metz kicked in $10K.
Shut
Wow.
up.
Oh,
Became a
Dick
great-
Metz for the win.
Dick Metz
Yeah.
just I've been talking to him for years because, Dick Metz, for you guys who don't know, is the guy who co-founded Surfing Heritage and Culture Center. And we've always, at any time we get together, we talk about how we're working the same project, basically, Encyclopedia of Surfing, Surfing Heritage Foundation, pulling in the same direction. And I'm terrible at putting my hand out and asking for anything. But this year I was a little more aggressive, and Dick Metz said, I'm going to send you a little something. It's not going to be a game-changing amount. And this came after the fundraiser was over. And I actually thought he'd forgotten. He's 92, so I'm going, oh, well.
He's sharp as a tack, though.
He is, but he's 92. And
yeah.
Anyway, and so I go, well, okay, maybe I'll just keep talking to Dick. I like him. And then this envelope came, and Jody goes, look, I got a thing here from Dick Metz. And I go, okay, well, this is it. This is going to be a check. She goes, how much is it going to be for? And I said, well, he said it wasn't going to be like a game-changing amount. So I said, I think it's going to be $500. And she said, I think it's going to be $1,000. And I just opened it up, and that was the day before, 2 days before Christmas. So that was.
I love
that
a
deposit.
Huh?
That was a deposit on the EOS. He's going to bring it into Shaq, man. Come on. Didn't you see the play?
I think EOS should probably be at some point merged with Shaq. But anyway, that was
I
great.
love that he still writes a check and uses the post mail to send it.
I know.
It's old school.
Very.
I did a 4-part series with Dick, interviewing him and getting him to kind of retell his story. And we only made it probably through a decade of his life. We didn't cover very much in 4 parts. And it was everybody's favorite series. So once they hear that he also donated that amount, they'll love him doubly.
If he hadn't donated, I'm happy to, anytime he calls, I'm glad to pick up the phone. It's a little bit like when Pat Dorian used to call me now and then, and you're just happy to be talking to those kind of people.
Yeah. Well, Devon Howard, New Year's resolution.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't really do them, but I did think of some that were realistic, maybe promises to myself. It was one of two. It was either sleep more, because with a young child, you appreciate it's challenging to sleep at times, but now that he is sleeping really well through the night, I need to make myself go to bed sooner, because my father, as we've talked about before, has Alzheimer's. And if you've been around Alzheimer's and you look into it, one of the biggest sort of contributors to it, at least from the studies they're doing, is sleep. So for all of you out there, try to get more sleep, at least 8 hours. It was either that or get barreled more. It's a tough choice.
I feel like they go hand in hand.
You don't have to have one. You can do.
And getting barreled is kind of the fountain of youth.
Yeah. We, living in Southern California right now, those of us that live there, it's definitely one of the worst winters in the past decade for surf. Finding a barrel is not that easy. So I'm going to work on that here out of the gate in January and February.
I'm going to give you a secret, Devon. There's this place called Lemoore, California.
Devon has the keys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think our friend Jonah's gonna get me in there because he can
exactly.
The last tube ride of my life is likely to have happened 3 years ago at Kelly's ranch, and I just think it's hilarious for all the gloom and doom I've thrown on that place, that in fact the last tube ride of my life, unless I do something pretty quick, is going to end up being that one that I got at Kelly's pool.
Yeah. That's sad. I feel like we really need to do, once we get that investor for the podcast, show immense profitability, we'll do a podcast funded employee surf trip, and it won't be to Surf Ranch. We'll go somewhere and actually get barreled in the ocean.
One in Texas, maybe.
What's that?
Texas.
The way it's full of Texas.
Yep.
Hey,
all right,
Devon,
boys.
real quick, have you surfed the boom in Nicaragua?
Who was that question to?
Yeah, have you surfed that place that beach break called the Boom in Nicaragua?
I haven't, but I know a lot about it and have friends that have.
I've surfed it.
It's legit. And my understanding is you don't want a very big swell there. It's actually favors a little bit smaller surf so that it gets through the outer bars. And yeah, you should go.
Escondido, but head high.
Yeah,
Correct.
I've surfed it.
Do it.
That's where we should go for our, if we all want to get tubed.
Too easy. Let's do it.
Too easy. No. Oh,
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's do it. That's an easy one to execute is what I mean by too easy. But I was thinking an easier barrel would be a reef pass somewhere. It'll be a more expensive vacation, but
the boom is, it's a jacky little, I mean,
yeah, you got to be on your A game to make that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But David Lee, have you heard
Yes.
of this place called Nijama?
I have, as a matter of fact. We need a big sponsor for that trip.
We need Nijama to sponsor for that trip is all we need.
We keep
Let's just
pushing.
talking about it.
Yeah, let's just keep push. And we'll have Matt Parker work that angle for us.
Maybe by the time we have that funding and we're profitable, Surf Lakes will be opened in Vegas and we can go there.
No interest in going to Vegas ever again. But
No, not Vegas, but Surf
Vegas
Lakes
the
looks
best.
pretty good.
Second best city on earth after Waikiki, David.
Chaz's
Scales.
favorite.
yeah, Chaz and I are going on separate trips. Well, hey, Happy New Year to you all, everyone around the world. And anybody sign off, final words for listeners? Anybody?
Just want to thank you, Dave, for hosting our shows and everything, and
Gladly.
all the work you do. We really appreciate it, and all the hours of entertainment you and Chaz and Devon and everyone provide us. So thank you.
Gladly.
I want to thank the listeners, each and every one. You're all saints for listening to this jibber jabber, especially the biggest saint of all, the man who listened to, how many hours did you listen to, David Lee?
Oh man, it was over 10,000 minutes. I forget how many hours it was.
Wow.
Over 10,000 minutes.
Yeah.
What,
Surf
total podcast
podcast.
recording? Is that what you're saying?
Of just the grit alone, he listened to 10,000 minutes in 2021. Because Spotify tracks your numbers and then they post it at the end of the year. They send it to you. It was his #1 podcast, and he had listened to over 10,000 minutes. I think it was 10,741 minutes. Ooh,
Yeah.
crazy.
God bless you.
On. Well, David, I think 2022 is going to be the best year. 2021 was like paddling out at Ocean Beach and not really getting outside forever. I think 2022, we finally got a break in the sets, and we're actually going to sit down on our board and kind of take a deep breath and enjoy this year. It's going to be good.
Sweet. I'm excited. I'm optimistic. Thank you, Devon.
Thanks, you guys.
All right. Thank
Good
you
night,
all.
everybody.
Happy New Year. See you next year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.
This year we had the fortune to have Al Chapman bring us into his shaping bay to make us 2 boards that Jack Reeves is glassing at sunset.
We are lucky enough to go to Jack Reeves' glassing shop and have him give us a 1-by-1 tutorial of him glassing the board that Al shaped for us. They're really the story of big wave and surfing and shaping and building boards. To be able to get the insight to that, to go right into the shaping and glassing rooms, I feel happy for you.
Jack Reeves has been glassing surfboards on the North Shore since the early 1970s. And glassing for the heavies, Dick Breuer, Mike Diffenderfer, Pat Rawson, and Al Chapman. Jack is widely considered the greatest glasser in the world. So how long you 2 guys been working together?
Too long. Since 1970.
You don't work with guys like he works.
You work.
Yeah. Dick Breuer was the guy. He's the guy who laid it all out, set it all up.
Jack Reeves, I'm 73. Glass and surfboards.
So Jack, you started glassing Brewer's boards in 70?
71, 72. We got together and started doing some boards. I had a shop in Haleiwa.
I windsurfed out that way for an hour and a half one day, watching the watercolors change, watching the flying fish come, watching the deep black come. It was in the middle of July. It was a solid 25-mile-an-hour beautiful wind. There was no one down there. It's when I lived on the beach. I had my windsurfer, and this is it, man. Okay, surfing's your right hand, windsurfing's your left hand. Windsurfing will make you a better surfer. Surfing will make you a better windsurfer.
In those days, maybe when you guys started, it was just such a necessity, there wasn't anything here. Or that's what my dad says, if you wanted something, you made it. And I feel like all the older guys knew about their equipment because they had to make their own boards.
Well, that's how I learned. I learned by patching dings. I started surfing here in '62. And I used to shape, and I used to do it all, but I was glassing for Dick Breuer and Mike Diffenderfer. I didn't need to be a shaper. I had the best surfboards in the world. Still do. I mean, they're all over the place. Okay, this is going to be orange tint.
So what's going to be so different about the way you're going to do it?
No, I just lift the laps. I wet out the laps by hand.
This is the encore, you guys.
The tape works pretty good, doesn't it? Anyway, this guy picked me up at the airport. I had 2 Diffenderfer blanks, 9-foot Diffenderfer blanks, which were like gold in those days. I mean, blanks were difficult to get. Bill Taylor, professor, picked me up and took me to Kapiolani Park to a free concert, and then brought me out here and took me right to Jeff Hackman's, and I knocked on the door and said, "Well, I'm here." Just the whole surfing thing was so much more remote then.
So what was your guys' best season of board building, now or since '70?
They're all the same.
That's
Nathan.
50 years.
It's really consistent.
Consistent.
Just there's always a board to glass. There's always a board to shape. So I'll see you a little later, okay, boss?